Okay, so I guess that's for me to start. I'm going to start by answering the question that we were all talking about, the color red, as it does relate to the topic at hand of what I'm going to talk about. For a long time, the color red only meant Christmas stuff to me, but as I've joined this organization and taken over this campaign called Red for Change, that perception has kind of changed as well. The color red for me is now all about awareness. It relates personally. I've grown up and I live with a brain injury and a learning disability, and I am also a caregiver to my mother who has brain injury as well. These are hidden disabilities, and so awareness has become very meaningful to me. I very much understand the importance of it. So that's what I think of when I think of the color red. Red for Change, and thank you, Marge, for having me here to talk about this current campaign of ours. And thank you to everyone for wearing the color red. It's great to see everything. Red for Change is a campaign led by CAYR Community Connections, an AIDS service organization. We have been doing this since 2013, and it is a campaign that is meant to bring about awareness to HIV and AIDS. During the last 2 weeks in November, leading up to World AIDS Day on December 1st, we share photos throughout social media, photos of York Region community members who participate in our Red for Change campaign, showing support often by wearing red or displaying something red. Participation of community members, partner agencies, and organizations make a big impact. We have seen support from friends and colleagues, community partners and businesses, mayors and other government elected officials, libraries and local radio, all within the borders of York Region. Last year, though, was especially challenging due to the uncertainty surrounding COVID-19, and a lot was missed. Participation in the campaign was down by almost 70%. No one was to blame for this, of course, and we did try to move through things as normally as we could, but things were not normal. People were occupied and they were tired. People were not gathering in groups for photo opportunities. I also may have dropped the ball a little by not pushing as much as I usually do for this campaign because of the craziness going on. This year isn't much different with the continuing pandemic. It's improved a little bit, but it's still there. So getting the awareness out and keeping it alive is very important. The global coronavirus pandemic is and should be taken very seriously, but it should not lead to us forgetting about another pandemic, the one of HIV and AIDS. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, that in combination with things like pneumonia can lead to AIDS, which is acquired immune deficiency syndrome. To give you a brief history of HIV, it started progressing between the 1930s and 1980s in rural parts of Africa to urban centers. It was in the 1970s and 80s that it became a global pandemic. The first cases of AIDS were reported in Canada in 1982. In the 80s and 90s is when community mobilization came, when people started taking action, marches began, people started looking for the healthcare system to improve. It was 1986, the first HIV medications, antiretroviral medications to prevent and treat HIV/AIDS came into fruition, otherwise known as ART. Over the years, to now even, the advancements have come as far as one little pill per day, and research and tests still continue to try and improve that. HIV is now a chronic and very manageable disease. People can live a long and healthy life. Some facts about HIV. The most recent figure from Public Health Agency of Canada, around 2018, this came out, estimated that approximately 71,300 Canadians are living with HIV. It's estimated that 25% of people living with HIV don't even know their status. This is particularly because challenging because individuals are at their most infectious when they have just become HIV positive and their viral load, or the amount of virus in their body, is multiplying rapidly. Roughly 50% of Canadians living with HIV are gay, bi, or other men who have sex with men. So there's still a lot of the population that are affected, and it's not just a gay illness. People who use injection drugs are 46 times more likely to get HIV. Aboriginal communities and people from countries where HIV is endemic are regularly found among particular people in a certain area. Example, African, Black, or Caribbean communities have far higher rates of new infections and HIV prevalence than the general population. Since the beginning of the HIV epidemic, approximately 79.3 million people globally have been infected with the HIV virus, and approximately 36.3 million people have died of HIV and AIDS. That is almost 8 times that of COVID, yet the same focus and attention of a vaccine is not there, at least not yet. It is true that much time has gone by since the first AIDS outbreak. So much has been lost, but so much has been gained. The advancements in treatments, as I already mentioned, and the introduction of HIV self-testing, which has the possibility of bringing about more privacy and making it all less stigmatizing, which I will talk about in a moment. But we are not quite there yet, because as much as we need a vaccine or even a cure, we need to be aware and we need to put an end to the surrounding stigma. Stigma brings on a mark of disgrace associated with having HIV, both to the illness and the person. It leads to exclusion and silencing, blaming, people not being able to access adequate services, criminalization. There's added stigma from having other disabilities, internalized stigma and self-hatred, and there's an impact on mental health, leading to anxiety, depression, etc. This is where the importance of awareness comes in, and a lot of it began with the red ribbon. We wear red and show red during our campaign in respect and salute to the red ribbon, a universal symbol of awareness and support for people living with HIV. In 1991, a decade after the emergence of HIV, 12 artists gathered in New York's East Village. They had met to discuss a new project for a New York HIV awareness arts organization. It was there that they came up with what the world most recognized, one of the world's most recognized symbols of the decade, the red ribbon, wore to signify awareness and support for people living with HIV. At the time, HIV was highly stigmatized, and the suffering of communities living with HIV remained largely hidden. The artists wanted to create a visual expression of compassion for people living with HIV. It was within weeks that the red ribbon could be seen in such high-profile places such as the red carpet at the Oscars. The media took notice, and within a short space of time, the symbol became universally recognized. At the Freddie Mercury tribute concert held at London's Wembley Stadium on Easter Sunday, 1992, more than 100,000 red ribbons were distributed amongst the audience, with performers wearing them such as George Michael. The red ribbon continues to be a powerful force in the efforts to create or to increase public awareness of HIV. That need is still there. We need to accept, understand, and show our human compassion for one another. Let's not allow the true sense of community and opportunities of lessons to be learned slip away. And this is what Red for Change is all about: working together, getting educated, and becoming aware. Thank you.